It's your position that it's at least consistent that George Zimmerman may have only received as little as 3, did you call it, what term did you use, smashing? Or,
sorry?
What, slamming. 3 slamming into cement, correct?
I didn't use the word slamming.
I'm sorry, I thought it was your word.
No, I got that from the reenactment.
What word would you use to describe what happened to the head that you say hit cement?
Impact.
Impact. So it's your position that there are at least 3 impacts between that head and cement?
Yes.
Okay.
Concrete.
The feeling was, after that exchange, that Mark O'Mara may not have actually won in that cross between the witness and he, but sort of neutralized the medical examiner there as far as that what could have been a very damning statement that the injuries of George Zimmerman were insignificant. Ashley?
Well, Marty, I feel as though there's been a lot of neutralizing going on, whether it's cross-examination or whether it's an actual prosecution witness that doesn't turn out to be much of a prosecution witness. Martin Savage has been watching this all along, and there have been no shortage of people fascinated by this. Marty, thank you. In fact, this has been watched all around the world, and out front tonight, our CNN legal analysts are jumping in on this as well. Criminal defense attorney Mark NeJame, who's sitting here with me, thank you for being here, as well as Paul Callan and criminal defense attorney Paul Martin are with me up in New York. Okay, I want to start with you, Mark NeJame. There has been no shortage of politics that started from the moment this actual incident happened. It's been infused with race, it's been infused with politics and anger and frustration, and the politics played out in the courtroom, specifically when it came to this actual witness, this medical examiner, and who appointed her. Have a listen and see how it played out.
You got your appointment to your present position because Ms. Corey, the prosecutor in this case, appointed you, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so she's sort of your boss?
Not really, no.
But it was because of her. I mean, she appointed you to this position, right?
She actually sent my name up to the governor. So if you want to call that an appointment, well, then so be it.
Okay, Mark NeJame, this is your state. What is going on in your state?
Well, this is not the medical examiner. This is a medical examiner. And I think what's been lost by so many, Ashley, is that she has not examined the body. She didn't come in until a month later.
She didn't do the autopsy.
She didn't do the autopsy. She looked at pictures and looked at reports, and her, not her boss, Angela Corey,
the special prosecutor in the case,
is a political appointment by the governor, Rick Scott, who also appointed this medical examiner.
Is this defense attorney under cross-examination in criminal litigation trying to suggest you are sitting up there, ma'am, out of politics and politics alone?
Well, you saw how she guarded her words. And the reality of it is she's got to be careful because credibility is everything. And, you know, she was looked at a picture, and you saw injuries, 2 cuts within inches apart of each other, and she said that likely happened from a single hit.
Okay.
Now, common sense dictates, forget being a medical examiner, that if you've got 2 injuries separated by inches, then it's likely that it's a couple of blows, at least more than 1. And to suggest that it was likely only 1 suggests that she's moving in a direction for the state.
So, gentlemen, I want you guys to listen in, because politics aside, there's a lot of fact and there's a lot of information that's coming out from the stand as well when it comes to the medical issues in this case, specifically injuries, not just injuries on George Zimmerman, injuries on Trayvon Martin as well. Listen to this.
Did you notice in those pictures the cuts on Mr. Martin's knuckle on his left hand, both on the ring finger and a slight one on the pinky?
Okay, those are not cuts, those are abrasions. So, because the cut suggests sharp force injury, and they are actually where the skin is rubbed off on Trayvon Martin's hand, correct?
That was a yes? You did notice them?
Yes.
Okay. Are those consistent with striking somebody?
Yes.
So we have some injuries, the only injuries, as a matter of fact, besides the gunshot wound, are 2 injuries on his knuckles, correct?
Correct.
Curious, since you've had a chance to look at the autopsy, were there any other injuries on Trayvon Martin at all?
No.
Any bruising injury?
No.
Any laceration injuries?
No.
Paul Callan in New York, I want to get your take on this. This was pretty surprising stuff.
It's amazing. Watching O'Mara go against the prosecution witnesses and the prosecutors, it's like watching a chess grandmaster go up against people who are playing checkers. Here he takes another key prosecution witness and turns it around to show that the only damage to Trayvon Martin was on his hands and his knuckles, indicating, of course, that he was striking blows against Zimmerman. He turns this critical witness around to the defense side. Very, very effective cross-examination.
Okay, another critical witness that took the stand, and it was the moment I'd been waiting for, Paul Callan. And Paul Martin, I want you to listen very carefully to this, because this next question is going to come to you, and that has to do with the CSI, crime scene investigation, the latent print investigator. They introduced her today as Kristen Benson. She works for the state. She does all the analysis on fingerprinting. And before I play for you this moment, I need to explain exactly what State's Evidence 183 is. It's the gun. Have a listen.
Did you find any latent prints of value on States 183?
No.
Whoa, no. There are no prints on the gun. Paul Martin, there are no prints of Trayvon Martin on the gun. George Zimmerman said he went for it, but there are also no prints of George Zimmerman on the gun. And Paul, we know he fired it.
Well, clearly there's an inference that during the struggle that Trayvon Martin tried to grab the gun. And that's why the prosecution is bringing this out to say, it's obvious that no one tried to grab that gun. But the question is, how come the prints aren't there for Mr. Zimmerman? The gun's been wiped away. So it's sort of a nullity. I think this whole thing about the print is going to just wash itself out.
Well, and it certainly did seem to wash itself out, because they went on to say, does the rain affect latent prints? And she had to concede that, yes, indeed, it does. NeJame, Paul Callan, Paul Martin, thank you for that. Don't go away, folks, because we have a whole lot more coming up on the Zimmerman trial here in Sanford, Florida. There were so many developments here in a hot and muggy July day in Florida. Guess who comes here every day, stoically sitting in one of the front seats? It's the family of Trayvon Martin, and they're flanked by people who help them. Their attorneys, their supporters, and they're going to speak to me next about what it's been like for this family to have to sit through some of this harrowing evidence. Don't forget, it is someone's son with a bullet wound to the chest. Also, Zimmerman's best friend takes the stand and testifies. Did he do him any harm? Did he do him any good? You're going to be the judge of that in just a moment. And then we've got this very bizarre and very strange and surprising new twist in Paula Deen's discrimination case, just when you thought it couldn't get stranger. Now we infuse Proposition 8 into Paula Deen's defense. I'll explain in a moment, live from Sanford, Florida.